Going through some of the stories with PR and crisis management expert Kevin Craig and anthropologist Marianne Hotter. So hello again to you. It's your last go at this, but we'll make it a good one.
Yeah.
As always. Not ever.
That's
no.
Surely.
This show.
It's something to play for.
Exactly. Then nothing is set in stone. But I'm going to take you through the front pages first. The Times pictures mother and daughter Judith and Natalie Raanan, who were freed by their Hamas captors last night. The Raanans are also on the front of the Eye. Suggesting an invasion of Gaza could be imminent, the Mirror has the headline, Deadly Wait. The Mail meets a young woman conscripted into the Israeli army from her job in an ad agency who's about to start fighting for her country. The Financial Times reports that Israel intends to sever ties to the Gaza Strip once the current conflict is over. The Telegraph reveals that a planned terror attack in the UK, allegedly by an asylum seeker and linked to Gaza, has been foiled by the authorities. The Express hears that Conservative insiders, reacting to yesterday's double by-election loss, believe the best way to win back the electorate is to demonstrate so-called true blue values. While The Guardian quotes a victorious Keir Starmer saying that Labour is redrawing the political map. And The Star offers pearls of wisdom from an AI chatbot that apparently believes all humans are aliens living on a planet run by Elon Musk. I had hoped we might talk about that at some point, but I think we're not going to, are we? We did promise it earlier, but there's no information, is there?
There's
not very much on that front page.
You could go online and ask, I think it's the Einstein chatbot, so it's like you're having a text chat with Einstein, and you will receive pearls of wisdom such as we're all living in a very complicated simulation, and who's running the simulation? Of course, Elon Musk.
Thank you so much for explaining that, even when you hadn't even chosen the story.
You are hugely welcome. I mean, it's what we're all going to be spending the rest of our days doing, isn't it?
Well, exactly. What else would we? Anyway, good to see you, Marianne and Kevin, back again for a third time round. We've covered a lot of the stories focusing on the Israel-Hamas war as well as the by-election. So let's take us to some of the other really big stories. There's so much around at the moment, isn't there? A double-page spread in the Mirror. Let's kick off with, shall we? This, Kevin, focusing on Storm Babette and, you know, hideous weather in North East Scotland.
Hideous weather in North East Scotland, covered really well by the Channel this morning and yourself, Anna. But on pages 10 and 11 in the Mirror, some key things to really pull out on a major story, which is parts of Scotland had over a month's rain in a day yesterday. It wasn't just Scotland, it was across the country. I was with people yesterday coming back from the southwest. They left Cardiff at 3 o'clock, they got to London at 10 o'clock due to rain delays on the trains. And also we nearly had a plane, a 737-800 Boeing plane, which lost control at Leeds Bradford Airport and had to do some emergency procedures. And basically, this is not going away in terms of, you know, weather impacts across the country. 3 people lost their lives in this latest burst, covered in some real depth and, you know, across the country in the Mirror there.
Yeah, and really horrible. 3 people have died since those storms began. More red weather warnings again for later today. So lots of advice that can be found online about how to handle the situation wherever you might be. But take us on, Marianne, excuse me, to a story in The Guardian about the climate crisis and warnings from paediatricians.
Well, nicely teed up, thank you, Kevin, for the fact that these kind of extreme weather events are going to become less rare as our weather systems change, as climate change impacts really start to hit home. And The Guardian runs this story. It's a major intervention by Dr. Camilla Kingdon, who is the president of the Royal College of Paediatrics and Child Health, the RCPCH. Not normally known to be a kind of radical or outspoken organisation. They represent paediatricians and child health specialists. She's warning of the grave risk from physical and mental effects of the climate emergency, that healthcare professionals are already seeing the impact. So this is things like air pollution, extreme weather, the cost of energy, so people heating their homes or cooling their homes, means that people are under increased stress. For example, during the winter weather, when it's too expensive to heat your home. You're more at risk of things like mold and damp, respiratory illnesses, things like that. And then the long-term chronic ill health that is associated with those kinds of environmental conditions, things like diabetes, things like health, heart and lung health. And what she's saying is basically, this is no longer tomorrow's problem, it's today's problem. We need to be really active in tackling the impacts, particularly for children who are most vulnerable, because the impacts of these climate change harms do not fall equally. They fall most heavily on children who are already disadvantaged socioeconomically, who have less, whose families have less choice about where they live.
Theme, isn't it?
And they're in inner city areas with less access to green space, less quality nature, dirtier air, dirtier options for transport. You can't just go, hey, well, let's just buy an electric vehicle.
So some sobering stuff there. And
really
serious
sobering.
warnings,
And the fact that she's come out and spoken and published this officially tells us that even the most small c conservative organisations are feeling compelled to speak up now.
OK, let's move on to the Daily Mail. We haven't got a huge amount of time, focusing on shoplifters and what might happen to them.
Yeah, really encourage listeners and viewers, Anna, to look at this on page 26 of the Mail, because the Mail is putting into sharp focus what I personally think is a very serious situation the government has allowed to happen within our prison, the prison estate. 5,000 shoplifters a year who may not go to jail now to avoid prison places. Now, that in itself may not be a bad thing, actually, because at the moment, prisons are a breeding ground for repeat offending. And the article also talks about shoplifting's gone up 25% in a year, which the Prime Minister's now saying he's going to try and tackle. But, you know, it's so serious, this, our prisons and our criminal justice system. Over 50,000 knife crimes last year. You know, 90% of crime does not go detected. It's much, much bigger than this. And it's good the Mail is highlighting that basically the government is overseeing a failure in law and order. And, you know, the prisons don't have room for shoplifting. I mean, you know, and I think most of us, whatever our politics as citizens, probably feel that if someone's not a violent criminal, we can live with that at the moment because, you know, the prisons have got no room left.
It's a huge debate, isn't it? Because people may say it's not necessarily about what difference that a prison sentence would make to somebody, but some people want to see someone punished if they've been robbed as well. So there's a big debate.
Yeah, there's a difference as well, though, that when a staff member in a shop confronts a shoplifter and is assaulted, the police don't turn up, and it's that feeling of it being a kind of consequenceless crime. But that said, I think this fundamentally goes to the root cause, which is that we need a transformation of our criminal justice system, underpinned by the question, what are we punishing people for? We can't just punish, there's no lock them up and throw away the key nonsense. It's about transforming people's lives, helping them transform their lives so that they have a better future to come out to. So maybe that is community sentences, but they need to be well funded too.
All in the context of overcrowded prisons. But we're out of time. We're out of time. So many different issues. Lovely to see you this morning. Thanks so much for your company, both of you. Thanks for taking us through the papers.